Hello, this is Centurion Love, and this is the 10th edition of God Did It. I recently had to pay my car note for the first time this past, a week or so ago, and it was supposed to be on September the 11th. But I made the choice to pay my rent instead of the car note first, um, so that I would have and I was just going to pay the car note, and if I had to make a late payment on it, I make a payment on the car note and then pay any late charges, then that's what I was going to do. But I paid my rent at the first of the month, and tried to pay the car note on the 20th. I went to the dealership to pay the car note, but they said, ma'am, just look at your loan papers and see who the person you loan the money from, and you can pay them. And so I went home when I left the dealership, and I looked through the paperwork, and I found the people that I had the loan through, and I contacted them, and they said, ma'am, we have no paperwork on you in this car. We have no idea um, what's going on, but we never sold you. We never loaned you the money for this car. Um, so you need to the dealership and see what's going on, because we have you nowhere in our system. You're not in our system anywhere to, pay, make a payment. We can't take one from you because we don't have you on file as even having a loan with us. I said, okay. So I went back to the dealership, and I didn't go back to the dealership. I called the young lady, and she said, well, okay, yes, ma'am, I'll talk to my manager about it, and we can get it set up, and we'll call you back maybe tomorrow. And I said, okay. So I waited for her to call me back the next day, and she didn't. And so I just reached out to her, and I said, okay, what do I do about the car note? Because I need to pay it. And I get there, and they told me, hey, you have to sign brand new paperwork needs to be signed on the car. And we're just going to do away with your first papers that you have. And I found that odd. I've never been through like anything with this, with a car before in my life. It's just the whole thing has been just really peculiar. And so the young man that originally did the paperwork with, he was no longer there. I don't know if it had anything to do with him. I had no idea. But the original paperwork was not there anymore. And so I said, okay. They said, well, we just want you to re-sign the paperwork, and we're going to take care of it then, and you can pay your car note. And so the first thing I was thinking, I said, well, they're going to try and add more money to this. I don't want them to do that. If that's what's going on, I'm going to have to look for another car. That was the first thing I was thinking. So I'm not going to pay them more money because they messed up, from the get-go. Okay. So I get in there. Well, the paperwork was signed, and I said, well, I'm not going to have to pay for, while the paperwork was being signed, I said, well, I don't have to pay for um a larger fee for the car now because of what went on. I want the same amount. I want to pay the same amount that the car was worth at first, which was originally 16,000. Okay. And so he said, well, as a matter of fact, you're going to get it for a cheaper price. And I said, okay. And so the paperwork was signed, and he said, you're going to get it for 12,000 instead of the 16,000. So he actually took off $4,000 off of the car, and that was nobody but God. God did that. He performed a Jubilee miracle. That was debt cancellation. That's debt that I don't have to pay back to anyone. He erased it. He took it while we were sitting there while we were sitting there signing the paperwork. He took the debt away from me that quick. And I said, God, whatever else you want to do in my life, I receive every blessing and every promise that you have given to me. Whatever it is, God, I receive it. And I have no objection. I'm not going to argue about it, and I'm going to be peaceful about it. So I learned to look at things and just sit and wait and not be, you know, worried about it. But you know, you have you have the right to be concerned and say, hey, what's going on? And you're watching every step that a person is doing in front of you to make sure that, you know, you're not being taken advantage of, you know, and that has happened, you know, previously, um, when I've tried to purchase other things in my life. But God said no, you know, He said, I got you. I don't want you worried about anything. Um, my pastor, Kathy Zade, she said, no cares, no worry. And I said, okay, God, I'm not going to, you know, have any cares about these different things, and I'm not going to worry about them. I'm just going to trust you no matter what. I trust you. And my pastor, Kevin Zade, also said, he said, just receive. You just receive. We have a problem with receiving. I'm a giver, so I had no problems with giving to people, but I had an issue with receiving, and I no longer have that issue. I receive everything that God has given to me and promised me. I receive it in Jesus' name. And so I hope this helps, you know, someone believe, um, even more so, and stand and believe that everything that God said He's going to do in your life, He's going to do it. Every miracle, every promise, every blessing, He is for it, just for you, because He loves you that much. And it's also at the same time, it's giving Him glory. It's for our Father's glory. I love Him so much. I love my Father so much. And I tell people about Him every day because I want them to know just how much their Father loves them. Well, this has been